I just got a cookbook from my good granny Helen. She wrote her favorite recipe for flaxseed lemonade. What if I took this recipe and added my own twist? What if I added mint? What if I sweetened it with honey, which I had just learned the bees made? And what if I donated a portion to organizations that were saving the bees? And so that was the origination of what my mission and vision was. I wanted to create great tasting lemonade, so lemonade that tastes good and does good, and I wanted to make a measurable impact on saving the bee populations. And so while that's what it started as, it has since grown into something more. Yes, it's saving the bees, but it's also teaching and encouraging social entrepreneurship. So next we have your industry overview. This is where you want to list what differentiates you from your competition. So you want to state your business's economic sector on a local, regional, and national level. You want to list what current leaders and trendsetters there are in your industry. And you could do this through a side-by-side competitor analysis or other formats. You want to forecast where your industry is going to go in the future. So what is your sector's growth? Is it slow, moderate, fast, and have numbers to back that up? What's the current market cap? What are opportunities that your business has to expand? But in general, you want to list how your brand and how your product separates you from the current industry and what target market you're trying to reach. Now, one challenge that we had that the industry overview section of our business plan helped address was the fact that in our industry overview, we noticed a beverage-wide shift to lower sugar products. And this is just because customers wanted lower sugar products. And so through having this section of our plan, we identified this trend, and then we were able to notice, okay, that's an opportunity for growth. And so we eventually went to adopting an even lower sugar version of our product. And so here's a visual example of a industry overview. And so this was for a visual business plan. And here's a example of what a side-by-side competitor analysis could look like. The next section is the Your Hive section, or management and key personnel. Here's where you want to outline your business's management structure and their qualifications. So this could be owners, key personnel, board, etc. And the thing is that you don't need to have a large team for a Your Hive section to be important and pertinent to your business plan. Because the thing is you just want to emphasize what proficiencies, personalities, and skill sets your team has. So whether you're a solopreneur and it's just yourself, whether you're listing people who support or people who you go to for help, this is where you want to list it. I include that as my hive. And so in general, you want to emphasize the capacity of your team through a variety of skill sets, and then also identify key functions that are required to help achieve the vision for your business. And so one challenge that we had as a small business was that it was hard to bring on full-time employees. I was the founder and CEO of Queen Bee. Eventually, I kind of brought on my parents as chief operating bee and chief marketing bee, but we still needed help. And so we realized that by listing what skills our current team had in our management and personnel section, we were able to realize here are the skills that we need to outsource. And so we eventually went to outsourcing specific team members such as brokers, accountants, manufacturers, and just finding people who can wear multiple hats to help us run the day-to-day of meeting the bees. And so the great thing about your hive is that it's not just people who work for your company. One thing that I've been blessed with as I grew me and the bees was the fact that there were so many people who wanted to be part of my hive, from former President Obama to Damon John, the shark who invested, to Russell Wilson, Warren Buffett, just so many people who were interested and inspired by my story and who I was able to connect with and get them interested in our mission, vision, and just business as a whole. So the next section of your business plan is capitalization. So how are you going to fund this idea in this company, and where will that funding go in the future? And so this is where you want to list what your initial funding will be, whether it's friends and family, angel investors, venture capitalists, or your local bank. You also want to set forth the capitalization of the company on a pro forma basis. So how much capital is needed to pursue the next steps of your business strategy, and what form of capital is that going to be in? Are you going to have equity-based investments, loans, line of credits, etc.? And so one of the challenges that we had as a small business was that there were opportunities to scale, but we were unable to take advantage of them because we looked at our capitalization section and we realized in order to launch into these retailers, or in order to go into these states, we needed freight, we needed higher manufacturing abilities, and we didn't have that at the time. And so we realized we needed capitalization. We established exactly what sources we were going to get that capital from, and then we were able to create a convincing pitch and slide deck to attract potential investors. And so that's what led us to going on Shark Tank in 2016 and landing a deal with Mr. Dame and John. Also in 2018, getting investments from around 10 NFL players, and even today, where we are looking to grow the company and get more rounds of funding. So the next section is going to be your business strategy section. So in this section, you want to list how your business will earn a profit through creating a value for your customers. So what are your value propositions? Is it newness? Is it brand or status? Reduced cost, convenience, customization? In general, what needs of your customers is your business going to satisfy? You also want to list your channels. So how are you going to reach your customers? Which channels work best and which channels are most affordable, which is very important as a small business. You also want to list your revenue streams. So there's multiple different types, from subscription-based to renting or leasing, licensing, advertising, etc. And once you establish those revenue stream types, how are you going to price your product or your service? Is it list price, negotiation based, customer dependent, volume dependent, etc.? This is also an important section. What's your business model? How are you planning on making a profit, and who are you trying to sell to? B2B, business to business, business to consumer, etc. And then we have one very helpful tool in establishing our business strategy section, strategizer.com. So I listed that here. So a great example of how a business strategy was helpful within Me and the Bees is when we were shifting from just being a lemonade stand to actually being a bottled product, pictured here. And so the challenge was, now that we were offered to essentially have a spot on a shelf of a local retailer, a local pizza shop said, hey, if you can find a way to bottle your product, we'll carry it in our store. Now that we had that opportunity, we had to figure out how our business strategy would change. And the truth was, it changed a lot. Instead of trying to target individual customers, we now had to shift our target to retailers and restaurants and cafes to sell the product. And then we also realized that this meant a different pricing model, different channels that we were trying to reach. And so thankfully, we had a very clear business strategy section, both as a lemonade stand and as a lemonade company, that helped us throughout that transition. And finally, we have the growth and goals section. So essentially, this is the section where you dream like a kid and are just fearless in the possibilities of where your business can go in the future. So this is where you list how you're going to expand where you are. This could be increasing velocity at current locations. This could be selling new products or new variations of your current products. And you also want to list what future promotions, marketing, or social media campaigns are you going to do. And so some great examples is that when I started Me and the Bees, it was just the mint flavor. And that was all we offered, honey sweetened mint lemonade. And as we grew, based on this growth and goals section, I decided I wanted different flavors. So we increased to having ginger and prickly pear and black cherry and a classic flavor. I also established that I wanted different products. So not just lemonade, but if I did lip balms, skincare, snacks, etc. And then I wanted my business to be more than just lemonade. And so after growing the company and after getting that lemonade to a nationally distributed point, I decided I want to start a nonprofit so that I can save the bees through research, education, and protection. I want to publish a book so that I can help inspire the next generation of change makers. And then I also want to connect with current change makers around the world, whether it's in Singapore or Cape Town, and figure out how we can make a difference when it comes to saving pollinators, when it comes to increasing the amount of social businesses in the world, and helping inspire others. So dreaming like a kid is where a lot of the passion and excitement for growing my brand originated from. And that passion made it so much easier to overcome many of the challenges that every small business faces at some point. For example, for us, it was managing and navigating the COVID-19 pandemic. It was also balancing being a student and being an entrepreneur at the same time, and so much more. And so in general, I think that yes, it was the dream of hey, this is where I want my business to go in the future. And yes, it was the backbone and foundation of that dream through a business plan, but it was also the resiliency and the grit that all entrepreneurs have. And so this quote is one that I came up with during one of those times of challenges. Don't be discouraged by life's little stings, get back up and spread your wings. And I think that this is applicable to being a small business owner, solo entrepreneur, but also so many other paths of life. In general, there's going to be stings, there's going to be challenges, but I think the most powerful point is when you actually get back up, when you're able to face those challenges and overcome them, and then tell stories about it and inspire others in the